Hi guys! It's been a while since I've posted a tutorial, but today I'm coming to you with a really good one. Marquee letters and shapes are becoming super popular, so here's my go at it. So for this project, you'll need all these materials here listed on the screen. You'll also need some scrap paper, newspapers. You'll also need some paper mache glue and some paint. I like to start all of my craft projects with a rough draft drawing in my notebook just to see where I'm going with the project and how I will execute it. So here I'm going to be making a pixel heart. For every pixel displayed in my picture, I will be measuring out an inch. So in total, my heart measures out 13 by 12 inches. Once I'm done with all of my measurements, I will be connecting all the dots to make a grid. Now after I measured it out, I realized I should have did this on the larger piece of Bristol board, so I wouldn't have to cut this out twice. So if you're doing this at home, measure it out on a larger piece of paper so you don't have to cut out the tabs separately. But here I'll just be using it as a stencil since I do mess up cutting it and I cut it wrong in certain places. But hey, that is one thing about crafting. If you make a mistake, it's always recoverable. So if you make a mistake, don't dump the project, just keep working with it. Make it work, you know. And this is how I made it work. I ended up taking the first cutout, using it as a stencil to trace it back out onto my larger piece of Bristol board. Then I cut it out following these lines here. After I'm done, I use the back of my X-Acto knife to score the fold line. So one of the main reasons why I chose a pixel heart was because of all these straight lines. Having these straight lines makes it a lot easier to work with. Plus, I love the retro look. The next step is to lay out the template of where you want your LED lights to. Remember, you can find this template on my blog. So here I am, I'm just using a simple tack to create the preliminary holes into the heart. Then with my X-Acto knife, I'll be cutting out an X so I can fit in a larger paintbrush so it fits my LED light. Try finding something at home that has the same diameter as your LED light. It will make inserting it at the end a lot easier. So once that's done, we can move on to creating the side of the marquee heart. Here I'm using whatever's left of the Bristol board to cut out 3-inch strips. I also marked it at the halfway point, which is at 1.5 inches. This will help us later on when we're gluing the sides to the heart. So afterwards, we are going to be scoring the 3-inch strips. I picked a corner and I started scoring at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, and 12 inches. That's where my strip ended, so I started a new one and I continued with that process. Once you got that done, I found that taping down the first couple segments helped out a lot. I taped it down to the front and then I flipped to the back and put some hot glue gun onto the tab and glued it down. It's easiest to start off with the longer segments, so that's what I'm doing. I'm sorry if my big head gets in the way. You're gonna see a lot of baby hairs throughout this tutorial. So take your time with this step because it's really crucial to get the sides glued down properly to the tabs. Especially with corners like this one here, just take your time and, you know, put on a movie, watch that while you're doing this step. It's really relaxing actually. Another tip is to skip out on gluing every single tab. It's just easier this way, so glue major segments of the heart down so you're able to see the general shape of the heart, and then you can flip it over and glue the tabs down. And this is what I mean by that. So check to see whichever tabs aren't adhered onto the side yet. Flip them down, add some glue, and then stick it onto the sides. And once you're done with that, it's on to the fun part. So we are going to be paper macheing today. Paper mache mix is pretty much just glue and water. If you watch Art Attack, you know how it's done. So get it to a thick, milky consistency and add your strips of paper to it. Make sure everything is coated, and you can leave this for a little bit. It really depends on the weight of your paper. I found that really cheap printer paper really dissolves quickly, so be careful leaving your paper soaked into your mache mix. So what I focused on the most was paper mashing where the sides meet the flat part of the heart. I really wanted this marquee heart to look seamless. Take your time with this step because you don't really want any air bubbles. You can really see that at the end after you paint it all. So take your time, smooth out all the air bubbles. With the side of the piece, I actually cut out like a regular piece of 8.5 by 11 into 3 strips lengthwise, and that gave me the perfect height to cover the side pieces completely with just one piece of paper. Also, don't forget the front facing edges. These can be a little tricky because you're maneuvering it in 90-degree angles, but just take your time with it, use your fingers, smooth out all of the corners, and you'll do just fine. After you let your marquee piece dry overnight, take whatever you use to punch the hole for the LED lights, punch it through again. At this point, you really should prime your piece with white paint, but I didn't, and it took me probably 4 coats of paint just to get an opaque look. So I didn't film any of that stuff because it was just such a big headache for me, but this is the final look I went for. It's pretty much a gradient purple to light purple. I'm not really a painter, so I don't really know what kind of technique I'm using right now. Just keep blending until you get a nice look. That's all I can say, really. Remember to take creativity into your own hand. If you like the idea of a marquee letter or shape, just take the basic techniques that I'm showing you here and apply your own unique feel to it. However, if you are following my heart template that you can get off my blog, paint the black parts last because it covers all your mistakes and you don't have to worry about it. Just take your time with clean edges. Don't forget to paint the sides of your shape as well. Once you are completely done painting, let it dry overnight. I also use my paintbrush to punch through the LED holes again. And speaking of LEDs, it's time to attach your lights. So flip your shape over and fit the lights into the holes that you've made. These lights that I'm using I found at the dollar store for $3, and they're pretty much perfect for this project. It comes with 20 strung lights and is operated on 3 AA batteries. Once all of your lights are in place, grab your glue gun and glue everything down. You can leave all of the wires raw like this, but I wanted to tape everything down to give it a nice clean look. So here I'm just using some white duct tape to do so. Now for the money shot, switch on your lights and flip it over. Turn your lights off and admire your hard work. This has truly been a really fun and easy to do tutorial. If you give this project a try, make sure you tag me at PaperChaserTO. Show me some love by giving this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Also check out my last video. I show you some new cake designs that I've created. Alright, until next time, see ya!